Hello and welcome to today's webinar on migrating Celonis on-premise into the cloud. My name is Jakub, I am a data scientist at Processand, and I am very excited to talk to you today about this challenge which many Celonis customers are currently facing. I would also like to inform you that this webinar is the first of a whole series encompassing the entire process mining evolution. We will publish several short videos over the upcoming weeks and months in order to give you an insight into the world of process mining. The reason we wanted to talk about moving on-premise Celonis instance into the cloud is mainly due to three reasons. First, we have received an increasing number of inquiries about this very topic from customers over the last several months. Secondly, we have successfully and effectively migrated many customers from their on-premise setup into the cloud. These implementations range from very small and straightforward setups to relatively large and complex ones. We will find out more about this throughout the video. And third, because many Celonis customers are just now facing this crucial question about if they should migrate their setup into the cloud, and if so, how? This is exactly why we need to give you the necessary support to help you answer the most pressing questions about this topic. And now, on to today's agenda. We want to show you the Celonis Process Mining development cycle, a subject that I am sure many of you watching this video are very familiar with. We will compare the implementation of Celonis on-premise and IBC and discuss the motivations behind the migration from one to another. Not only will we highlight the opportunities that can be gained through migration, but also examine the risks and how to mitigate them. Furthermore, we want to introduce Processend to you because we know exactly about the trials and tribulations you will face on the way to a successful migration. Additionally, we want to discuss not only our entire migration framework, but also the tools we have specifically developed for this topic. And finally, we want to conclude the webinar by extending an offer to you. I would also like to mention that we have created a migration checklist that you are most welcome to request from us at any time. Alright, let's jump straight into the topic process mining evolution, which many of you are already familiar with. Celonis was founded in 2011 and quickly became a pioneer in process mining technology. Every year, Celonis has added many features and functionalities that have enabled deeper and more insightful process analysis. 2019 was the advent of the IBC, a fully cloud-based analytics platform that encompassed data extraction, data transformation, and of course, data analysis. The IBC is complemented by a machine learning workbench, which enables advanced analytics initiatives to be implemented. The addition of the further functionalities, like the action engine, empowers users to be able to course correct and steer their processes. Recently, the IBC was elevated to a whole new level with the introduction of the Execution Management System, also called EMS. The platform not only integrates the existing analytical tools, but also smart messages as well as automation functionalities that directly feed into the source system. This allows us for not only the detection of inefficient processes, but also the ability to rectify the offending activities directly in the source system. This shows the powerful innovation that Celonis is developing, which have frankly been unrivaled for close to 10 years now. The great thing about this innovation is that the value of Celonis grows with every development cycle. For us, of course, the most important thing is that we can deliver a comprehensive and effective services to our customers. The motivation behind the cloud migration is clear. While the on-premise instance provides all the analytical tools needed, the cloud offers some significant benefits, namely the hosting and server maintenance disappears. The cloud solution is easy to use and approachable, but at the same time a powerful analytics tool. The execution management system is not only an information and analytics platform, but also enables proactive engagement in the process, smart messages, and direct process automation. We have had the pleasure to follow and support many customers on their process mining journey. A significant number of these customers have developed a robust structure behind Celonis. For some customers, we successfully implemented up to 30 processes on which we were able to build countless analyses. We understand at first there is much unease and apprehension about a potential migration. The most common concerns we hear from our customers are a fear of exploding internal as well as external costs, potential deviations in KPIs between the on-premise instance and the cloud, and lastly, doubts over whether a one-to-one migration is even possible. We can proudly say that through our history in dealing with these concerns from our customers, as well as the migration framework and tools we built specifically to manage these risks, we can eliminate any doubt or fear that you may have. One thing is clear. Aside from the risks that are mitigated through our extensive experience, a cloud migration presents a multitude of opportunities for you and your business. Bloated and opaque business processes can be eliminated. Data models and analyses that due to performance reasons needed to be divided can be fused and harmonized during the migration. Additionally, a migration is the perfect opportunity to implement improvements and optimizations. During migration, we often connect additional systems to expand upon the already existing processes and insights. In order to seize these opportunities, you will need two core elements. First, a competent and experienced partner that knows the technology and can wield it from start to finish. Secondly, the necessary tools to mitigate any risks before and during the migration. It's exactly these competencies that we, Processand, offer our customers. And now let us tell you more about Processand.
Hi, I'm Patrick, and I want to talk about Processand and what we do. Processand is a consultancy that focuses on process mining, business intelligence, and big data analytics. Many companies nowadays are using these terms liberally. What separates us is our long-standing history and experience with the Celonis software. The core team of Processand are former Celonis employees, which started Processand in 2017 with one clear vision in mind. We want to ensure the success of your process mining initiative. Today, this vision is more important than ever. With the ever-growing power of Celonis platform, many customers are counting on our experience and competencies to seize the most valuable opportunities for their business. Not only do we have an extensive knowledge of Celonis, we were also part of the development, putting us in a unique position. As a Celonis Platinum partner, we have accumulated global and diverse portfolio of customers, for example Swisscom, ThyssenKrupp, and SABIC. It is precisely this reason why we position ourselves globally. Our headquarters are situated here in Munich, from where we service clients in the whole EMEA region. We also operate 2 additional offices in New York and Taiwan, in order to service all our customers around the globe. We focus on 4 main areas: process mining implementation, advanced analytics, business intelligence, and consulting. Over the years, we have successfully implemented over 200 processes, connected more than 50 various IT systems, and served customers in 8 different industries. Due to this broad spectrum of clients, we have developed our very own Processand use case repertoire, which we readily make available to our customers. Through the course of our journey in the process mining world, we have gathered invaluable experience migrating several customers. We would like to now share some of these insights with you.
Hi, my name is Alexandra. Now that you know a little about us, let's get straight into the technical aspects of migrating your business from Celonis on-premise into the IBC. So what does the on-premise world actually look like? Well, we need to consider 2 dimensions, the technical and the business. The technical dimension is more diverse when dealing with an on-premise Celonis instance compared to the cloud. There are a multitude of potential methods. Data can be replicated into the database or data lake. This can include SAP technology like SLT or SDI, or even other third-party ETL tools that extract and transform the data before it's finally visualized and analyzed inside Celonis. On the other hand, the business dimension usually increases in complexity. After the initial implementation of a purchase to pay, order to cash, or accounts payable process, the content is usually expanded in order to gain deeper insights into the business. As time goes on, other parts of the business will gain notice of the value Celonis has created and will also want a Celonis implementation that will benefit their own processes. This results in a broad spectrum of processes that are not only complex but also have a wide scope, which all need to be migrated. Where do the data models, transformations, and scripts come from? Usually, the initial implementation is carried out by either us or Celonis, but over time, the customers themselves will have gained the expertise and competencies to add their own scripts and code into Celonis. This also holds true for data models and analysis. In our experience, we have seen many customers confidently develop their own solutions inside Celonis. For example, Swisscom, one of our largest customers. They have successfully and independently implemented various processes with minimal input from us. We have briefly touched on where we are coming from. Now it's time to talk about where we are going. There are two approaches of handling an on-premise migration. First, keeping your data and infrastructure in place. This means we are able to reuse much of the already developed infrastructure that is used on the on-premise instance to satisfy the requirements of the IBC. For example, if a data lake has already established for Celonis on-premise or any other tools, it can be further be accessed and used in the IBC. The alternative approach is to migrate to a full IBC solution. This means a database server is no longer required. Instead, we use a native connector to directly connect to the source system, such as SAP, Salesforce, ServiceNow, or others. This will extract the data directly into the IBC, allowing for further processing in the process mining engine, what you will typically know as Celonis. There are advantages and disadvantages to both approaches. The data lake approach allows you to keep the already implemented replications, minimizing additional effort. The full IBC approach, on the other hand, contains all the configuration in one place, removing any maintenance or configurations on local systems. While this approach requires more effort to initially implement, it reduces the complexity in the long term. One question we still need to answer is what type of migration is required. The typical kind is one-to-one migration, requiring all previously implemented content in the on-premise instance to be replicated to the newly set up IBC. The motivation behind this kind of migration is being already very satisfied with the existing implementation, but wanting to take advantage of cloud-based features like the action engine, process automation, the machine learning workbench. Alternatively, a migration can encompass not only the existing content, but also include any improvements, optimizations, or even adding additional systems. It can be advantageous while already migrating the content to implement these changes. A migration can serve as a great opportunity to implement many of these improvements, as well as discard any redundant processes. Now that you have heard about where we are coming from and where we are going, it's important to talk about what this all means for you, the customer of Celonis. What are the cost drivers? How much effort is it to migrate all the content that you have built inside Celonis? What volume of data is required and how are extractions handled? And finally, what will the final implementation inside the IBC look like? The first example is quite typical for Germany, a medium-sized business with a revenue of around 1 billion euros, with 1,000 to 5,000 employees. The process mining initiatives are quite diverse for these businesses, but they typically have one center of excellence or one organization in which Celonis is used. In terms of data volume, these companies operate with a manageable amount when compared to large businesses. However, the amount of data models and analyses that need to be migrated is fairly invariant to the size of the business. Even small business can have complex and wide-ranging Celonis implementations. Typically, our customers have been using Celonis for over 2 to 3 years and will have amassed a diverse set of processes and content that will eventually need to be migrated. On the other hand of the spectrum, we have a large business with tens of thousands of employees, multiple source systems, and using Celonis for various processes. Additionally, they don't have a centralized center of excellence, but many organizations inside the business using Celonis, which all require a migration. This makes the migration more complex, because we not only have to manage the increased data volume and content, but also numerous stakeholders that may have different requirements and goals for their migration. The goal of a migration is to elevate the process mining initiative. Regardless of the size of the business, the key components to achieve a successful migration are the same. What do we want to migrate? How do we want to migrate it? And with whom do we need to speak?
Here at Processand, we are lucky to have been able to accompany Celonis all these years. This enabled us to gain a deep understanding of both Celonis on-premise and the IBC before even implementing our first migration. Today we can say that we have successfully migrated many customers, ranging from small businesses to large multinational corporations. From this experience, we developed an extensive migration framework that has been invaluable for our customers. We want to give you an overview of this migration framework now, in order to give you an insight about what a potential migration could look like for you and your business. This overview will cover the individual steps that are required, the risks you can face, and how we mitigate them, so that you achieve the goals that you set out at the beginning of the migration plan. The framework is usually very similar and consists of 5 major steps. The first step is, in my opinion, also the most important: the assessment of migration requirements and IT infrastructure. During this phase, we clearly define the scope and goal of the migration, what content is to be migrated, and what can be discarded. This step usually becomes more complex depending on the number of stakeholders involved. Large businesses with typically 6 to 7 independent implementations of Celonis will have a more varied list of requirements. This can also lead to certain redundancies that can be eliminated, further consolidating the context in order to minimize future maintenance and complexity after the migration. As soon as the objectives of the migration are agreed upon, we can move to setting up the IBC environment and IT infrastructure. This does not vary much from a typical IBC implementation. Moving on to step 2, migration of transformations. The first step of migrating the content starts on the source system. In the on-premise instance, data is in one form or another transformed by either a sequential order of scripts, calculation views, graphical calculation views, or with custom procedures. For us, it's important that we do not only replicate these transformations, but also optimize them to run as efficiently as possible inside the new infrastructure inside Celonis. It is imperative that the intended functionalities of the scripts are kept during this transition. After successfully implementing the scripts, we can start with step 3, migrating the data models. While it is possible to create the data models in the IBC manually, it is very error-prone and time-consuming. What we do is use self-developed tools in order to ensure a one-to-one replication of the on-premise objects to objects in the IBC. Manually implementing the data models can lead to errors, as people can make mistakes. These mistakes can lead to long debugging sessions that can delay the whole project plan. Creating data models manually is also very time-consuming, which is only exacerbated by the amount of data models that need to be migrated. With our tools, we can ensure not only a one-to-one replication, but also a quick and efficient one. It is often the case that the replication of data models is not enough. Due to the IBC being a magnitude more powerful than on-premise instance, we can take advantage of the computing capacity and consolidate systems and processes that would have been too performance intensive for the on-premise instance. This further reduces future maintenance and complexity, but also allows the data to be analyzed and compared in the same analysis. The fourth step is migrating the analysis. For us, it is important that the user does not only see the same data as in the on-premise instance, but also has the same, if not better, experience when using the analysis. The procedure of replicating these objects is usually fairly straightforward and can be largely automated. However, in some cases, the core data may have changed in some form or another. This can lead to table names, column names, or other objects not being referenced correctly in transformations, data models, and analysis. Using our tools, we can create a mapping to translate these objects from their on-premise versions to the IBC versions, further ensuring that the object replication can be carried out smoothly. Coming to the final step, quality assurance. After the successful migration of analyses, the technical aspect of the migration is complete. This means we see the same functionalities of the on-premise instance in the IBC. For you as the customer, it is vital to know that either the data is identical in the IBC or that the changes made during the migration have an effect on the numbers seen and why. In order to prove the correct and complete migration, we use a hybrid approach between automated code versioning and manual spot checks that us or you carry out to check the validity of the data. During this period, you have both the on-premise instance as well as the IBC for making cross-checks for any and all relevant KPIs that we migrated. This migration framework was used by all of our customers, and not just in the process mining use case, but also auditing and controlling checks were able to successfully validate their data in this way. With the quality assurance step completed, we have successfully implemented the migration. For us, this means we have replicated all of the agreed upon functionalities, dashboards, and content, and additionally that all the required improvements and optimizations were carried out effectively. Now we will give a short summary about all the topics discussed in this webinar and what a migration could potentially look like for you.
In general, there are three phases: defining the scope, the migration, and finally the quality assurance. Ourselves developed tools, experience, and competence ensures that we successfully and completely migrate to your required specifications. At this point, I want to bring your attention to the following two things. First, you can inquire about our checklist for a successful migration at migration@processend.com. And secondly, we want to offer you a non-binding, no strings attached assessment where you go through a migration scenario based on your specific on-premise implementation. Thank you and goodbye.